Hey guys, Colton here. We'll get back to the podcast in just 1 minute. I just wanted to let you know that my new book, 24 Rules of Masculinity, is officially out. If you've been resonating with the topics we've hit on in this podcast, discipline, purpose, identity, what it means to be a man today, this book was built for you. It's a straight talking guide packed with hard lessons, biblical principles, and the kind of clarity that I think a lot of us are starving for. So whether you're just starting on your journey or looking to get back on track, I wrote this to be something that you can pick up, apply, and carry with you. You can find the 24 Rules of Masculinity on Amazon and through the link in the description. I would love to hear what you guys think. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back to Chasing Masculinity. Today, we're going to be getting into another one of our Masculine Essentials episodes, which is a series where we break down various fundamental traits of masculinity in short episodes. Today, we're going to be talking about dressing like a man, which is not the same thing as modern feminine fashion. Most men today have forgotten the art of dressing like a man. They either lean into trends that blur masculinity, or they swing into the entire opposite direction and convince themselves that not caring at all is somehow authentic. But both extremes kind of miss the point. Dressing with intention isn't about vanity or image, it's about respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the people around you, and for the standard that you claim to live by. I've gone through every phase that a man probably could. The cool era where you chase that style for attention, or the athletic phase where comfort becomes an excuse for laziness, and the season where you convince yourself that caring about how you look makes you more or less of a man. But what I've learned is there's a simple truth. Dressing with intention and caring about how you present yourself is not feminine. What's feminine is performing for that validation, like wearing dresses or makeup so you can draw on other people's attention. Dressing like a man means being deliberate, understanding that how you show up in the world is an outward reflection of what's happening on the inside. Modern men confuse laziness for authenticity. They think rolling out of bed and throwing on whatever's clean shows confidence, but that doesn't. That just shows apathy, and apathy is the first sign of decline within a man. Because when you stop caring about how you present yourself, you've stopped caring about who you've become and who you're becoming. So this episode is about reclaiming that discipline, learning to dress with purpose, to present yourself with strength, and to look like you actually respect the man that you're building. Dressing well isn't just about fashion, it's about order, it's about that intention. It's about showing the world without saying a word that you truly take yourself seriously. So, with that, let's get into today's episode. So I want to start by talking about my journey through the various phases of how I used to dress myself. And I've kind of lived on all sides of this conversation. I went through that cool phase of the 2000s where you're chasing all these new trends just to stay relevant. You know, the puka shells, the long plaid cargo shorts, the spiked gelled hair, the chains in the jeans, all that stuff, just to try to draw attention to yourself for your uniqueness and your style. And there's also that athletic phase where I was wearing sweatpants and tennis shoes or shorts and just some sort of athletic t-shirt or some sort of quarter zip. But I was very much being lazy with it. I was picking whatever I had in the closet and just throwing it on, not caring, as long as it fit into the realm of athletic wear. I was wearing that because I felt like the comfort justified the laziness of actually getting dressed. And then there was also the careless phase where I convinced myself that not caring what you look like, and that fashion in itself was feminine, is somehow then masculine. And I'll talk more about this later, but there is a large part of fashion that is feminine. If you ask anybody that knows me, I very much do not have any ounce of a fashion gene inside of me. And it's a word that very much just sounds feminine in its nature. But that doesn't mean you have to throw out how you look entirely, which is what I did. I threw out the entire concept of caring about what I looked, and I thought, well, because fashion is feminine, if I do the opposite, which is completely neglect how I look, therefore that is masculine, which is very much not the case. Now, each of these phases that I've gone through have been these external choices that have actually reflected my internal mindset. They're a mirror of your level of maturity or of your confidence or of your self-respect or lack thereof, really. That was kind of the turning point. That dressing, caring how you dress, caring how you are presenting yourself as a man, that isn't vanity. It's just showing your discipline and respect. When a man dresses with intentionality, he is really showing that he values the structure in every part of his life, with his body, his mind, with his appearance. Dressing like a man isn't about this flash of approval. It's about being deliberate with every one of your choices. It's like your work or your relationships or your faith. It all requires intentionality. It requires a deliberate decision that you've made. I've carried some of these good and bad habits into the workplace as well. I've always been one to try to dress better than my peers. Not overdressed, not being over the top, but just the next level that was appropriate for the workplace. And that consistency, even though it may have ruffled some feathers with my peers or others may have looked at me a little differently, it actually got me a lot of respect from the management and leadership. My direct SO and everybody from that position upwards looked at that consistency and that intention, and it earned me more respect than not. And that attention to detail in how I cared about my appearance mirrored the attention to detail in my performance. It wasn't a one-off. It wasn't this act that I was doing. It was actually a mirror of my diligence in the workplace. So those two combined reflected some level of competency at a greater degree than just one or the other. And I've done the opposite of that too. When I stopped dressing with that same intention, the growth stopped as well, or the respect stopped too. There's a stagnation that followed due to a loss of discipline that comes from not just how I dressed for work, but also how I cared about how I went to work. There was a distinct correlation between the lack of discipline in how I care about my appearance and how I care about my workplace. So that presentation, how you dress, that communicates your values. People will respect you only as much as you appear to respect yourself. When I stopped dressing with that intentionality, I stopped leading with intentionality. And that is the danger for a lot of men today. We confuse this apathy for authenticity. And there is a big problem in the way men dress today, and that is the feminization of men's dress. Masculinity's appearance, how we as men choose to show ourselves to others, is under attack. Not metaphorically, but quite literally. Modern fashion is deliberately blurring lines between masculine and feminine presence, making men timid about asserting traditional strength in how they present themselves. There's been a cultural shift. The rise of this genderless fashion or these soft aesthetics have redefined what is acceptable for men to wear. Media and celebrity culture now promotes this male fashion choice that once belonged exclusively to women, like skirts and dresses and makeup and jewelry or painted nails. How many of you now would see a man in public in a dress and painted nails and long hair and makeup and not even bat an eye. These things have become normalized. Let me be clear. These are not neutral choices. These are not genderless fashion choices. These are distinctly feminine. The issue here isn't about creativity. It's just pure confusion. The culture is now celebrating blurring rather than defining. And that confusion weakens the masculine identity. It's confusing all of the young men out there not knowing what path to make and not knowing how they can stand out. Let me give you a little spoiler alert. Wearing a dress and painting your nails is not the way to do that if you are a man. It is so common now for places like the red carpet where male celebrities wear skirts or pearls or makeup as statements of this sort of freedom, of this expression. There's fashion magazines that promote fluidity in dressing and then mock the traditional masculine attire as outdated. And then brands are deliberately marketing this androgyny as progress. If everybody is the same, then we must all be equal. We're leveling the playing field. We're making everybody equal. It's equality. No, it's not. It's destroying masculinity and femininity. It is removing what people have worked hard for or what people have fallen into for their own natural desires or wants of how to present themselves. I want to look like a man. My wife wants to look like a woman. And when androgyny is marketed as the new norm and anything that falls outside of that is not progressive or outdated or traditionalist, it makes it really hard for people to pursue their true identity and who they really want to be. And again, I'm going to say, men do not wear dresses. Men do not wear makeup. These things are not masculine. They're feminine. And pretending anything otherwise doesn't make us more evolved. It just makes us confused. There is a deep cultural undercurrent because modern fashion is built around performance, dressing for validation, and visibility rather than any sort of function or respect. Men are encouraged to express emotion through clothing rather than actually cultivating strength through any sort of action. And what is the result? We've replaced structure with softness, and we've replaced discipline with pure self-expression, with nothing to back up that self-expression. Contrast that to typical masculinity. Historically, masculine dress emphasized function over form. That durability, the fit of your clothes, the utility, the simplicity. And the feminine dress emphasized form over function, so ornament and softness and presentation. Modern culture has tried to merge the two, or just downright flip them. But in doing so, it erases the masculine edge entirely. So it's time to redraw that line between dressing like a man and dressing for attention. One communicates strength, and the other cries for this needed validation of onlookers. So that is the philosophy behind how to dress like a man. Dress with intention. What is intention? Dressing with intention means that every item you put on serves a purpose. It represents who you are. It might reflect where you're going. It could communicate what values you have. Dress every day like the man you're trying to become. Every day, you should get up and you should choose to present yourself in the direction of the man that you're trying to become. And the core of masculine dress. Dressing well isn't fashion, it's a sort of order. It's self-control made visible. A disciplined appearance mirrors a disciplined life. It's a man who intentionally projects confidence before even ever saying a word. That plays into your discipline and identity. The man who dresses with intention doesn't need approval. His self-respect is evident. It's in how he carries himself. Contrast that with someone who's dressing to impress. He's chasing attention or validation or envy. But when you're dressing to represent, your clothing as a reflection, as your identity, as your discipline, as your purpose, it's going to be clear. If your clothes are louder than your character, I think you've probably gone too far. There are some parallels to dressing or appearing as a man or appearing or dressing with intention to other areas of your life. When you go to the gym and you take care of your body and your health and your nutrition, it is clear to others that you have certain traits of discipline, of perseverance, of grit. It's the same with how you appear. Or if you keep your home clean and tidy and your life is in order, it shows clear traits of who you are. Again, it is the same parallel to how you appear. It's about order, not purely appearance. Ironing your shirt isn't vanity, it's self-respect. Wearing clothes that fit properly and show attention to detail is not an insecurity. Dressing sloppily communicates chaos, even if it is unintentional. That's my cultural call-out. Many men just justify their laziness and their appearance as not caring what others think. I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what I look like. That's not confidence. That's not you being a man. That's just neglect. That's laziness. That reflects who you really are. True masculine confidence is about knowing you've put in the effort and it doesn't need anybody else's validation. You did it for you. You did it because it's who you are or it has the function of what you need. Masculine style isn't about standing out. It's about standing firm. Dressing with intention is how a man visibly communicates his internal order. Now, there are some pretty common archetypes of masculine presentation that I want to get into here. And the purpose of this section is to help apply some of these ideas directly to maybe one of your lifestyles, to show you that masculinity can express itself through many archetypes. It's not a one-size-fits-all, but rather a shared principle of intentionality. There could be the professional archetype. So that's that sharp, structured, clean-fitted. That's that three-piece suit you see on TV. It symbolizes that ambition or authority in your leadership. And it has practical traits, neutral color palettes of navy, gray, black, white, beige, well-fitted suits, or business casual attire. Those are the attention to details, like the polished shoes or the pressed shirts or the clean grooming that show that you are able to take care of yourself and your responsibilities in a serious manner. It does have a pitfall too, because overdoing the flashiness or overdoing the cost of some of these suits or accessories leads into that fashionable side more than the respectable side, which is why that dress exists, is to earn respect. So you don't want to overdo it. There's also then the blue collar type. That's that durable, that functional, rugged, and practical. It represents pride in your work or your readiness to take on whatever your day holds. You have your work boots, or your denims, your flannels, your leathers. That's gear that has been built for use. That clothing shows wear from honest labor, not from any sort of neglect. I work with an individual who has been a laborer his entire life, and he says one of the traits that his dad passed down to him, he says, there are two things you always need to have clean. One is your car, and two is your work boots. Every day when he got home, it could be a 7-day week, 10, 12-hour days, he cleans his boots. Doesn't matter how old or new they are, they always got cleaned. That's that respect he took in his work. And it showed, it directly translated to what he was able to do and where he's at now. That's that mindset that was reflected. I am capable. I am grounded. I am dependable. But there's also that pitfall of letting that comfort slip into carelessness, being dirty or unkept. That doesn't equal toughness. That just shows neglect. There's also the athletic type where you're disciplined through your activeness and your clean look. Your nutrition and your health are clearly at the forefront of your lifestyle. That reflects that energy and that discipline and that strength that you have. You have physical traits. You have athletic wear that fits you well, not these oversized, baggy used sweats. They're neutral colors, they're structured fits, they're performance fabrics. And your grooming and hygiene are consistent with that disciplined lifestyle. It's that mindset. I take care of my body and my health. But if you're constantly dressing like you're perpetually at the gym, that doesn't show that you're athletic. It just means that you are sloppy and that you don't actually have any ambition to dress anything outside of that one realm. That's the pitfall of only ever dressing like an athlete. There's also the minimalist. That's that simple, timeless, and intentional look that reflects maybe that clarity or maturity or that calm confidence. Again, the neutral tones, the limited patterns, but the high quality, just basics. Consistency over the variety. Investing in fewer but better items. A clean, structured aesthetic that really never goes out of style. It's that mindset of my presence doesn't need noise to be respected. That pitfall, though, is mistaking minimalist for that plainlessness. It's simplicity, but it still requires some sort of care and fit. And what's that unifying principle across all of these? Across every single archetype, the masculine constant is intention. It's not imitation. You don't need to look like everyone else. It's not performance. You don't need someone's approval. It's that authenticity that's aligned between who you are, how you act, and how you want to present yourself. So whether you wear a suit to work or a work jacket or just a plain t-shirt, wear it with purpose, wear it with intention. The goal is not to be noticed, it is to be respected. And that is how you build a masculine wardrobe. You can't call yourself disciplined if your appearance is just all chaos. How you dress doesn't define you, but it does reflect you. The way you present yourself is the visual signature of your discipline, of your priorities, of your respect for yourself and others. Fit is everything. It's the foundation of that masculine presence. It's the line between looking intentional and looking careless. Clothes that fit communicate that confidence and control and strength. Your shoulders of shirts and jackets should line up with your frame. Bagginess signals apathy. Pants should sit at your waist and show the shape of your legs, not hang off like you're still in high school. And shoes should be clean and match the tone of your outfit. Your shoes should tell people that you're still paying attention. Masculinity isn't about necessarily the label on your shirt, but the intention behind how you want to make yourself appear. And again, I think quality and neutrality should take precedence over quantity and trend. Masculine wardrobe doesn't need to be large, it just needs to be dependable. So invest in the solid pieces that last, like jeans, some good shirts, whatever boots or shoes you need, a versatile jacket. Avoid that fast fashion or over-branded clothing because these are just short-term identities. These are going to be gone before you can even wear them enough to justify it. I'm a big fan of neutral colors. Yeah, I got plenty of bright pink golf polos, but that's not all I wear. The majority of what I have is neutral colors. It's the blacks, grays, whites, navies, browns, olives, something that allows versatility and just avoids flashiness. And honestly, it makes it easy on me. I can mix and match with very little downside or clashing colors so my wife doesn't yell at me. They represent that stability and maturity and that confidence. I think that's kind of the masculine mindset too, is to buy less but buy better, because someone who's going to value quality shows that restraint and patience, not that impulse or trend chasing. There's also how you groom and how you posture yourself, because that is a part of your presentation. Dressing with intentionality means nothing if your grooming and posture are completely ignored. There's some grooming basics, like keeping your hair trimmed and your style simple, not overly styled or overly neglected. Whether you maintain facial hair or are completely cleanly shaved, both still require discipline. Choose what's going to work best for you. And also, smell clean. Come on, dudes. Let's use deodorant and maybe some cologne. Nothing overbearing, but just smell clean. Smell like you would want to present yourself to somebody. There's also your posture. We've talked about this before, but standing tall, your shoulders back, your chin up, making sure that you are using the correct amount of eye contact. This is visual leadership. This posture is going to communicate dominance and awareness and confidence. This masculine presence starts before you even speak. Your posture and your presence announce who you are before your words do. And you want to dress like the man that you're becoming. The way you dress should only ever point towards the future version of yourself, not the past or someone else. If you dress like who you used to be, that's where you're going to stay. What kind of man do you want to be seen as? Do you want to be seen as disciplined or careless? Dependable or forgettable? Dressing for the man you're becoming forces your habits to rise to that standard as well. You behave differently when you look capable. You act with more confidence when you appear intentional. You're going to treat other people differently, and other people are going to treat you differently when you respect yourself first. So at work, if you want, outdress your peers, but never your boss's ego. It's a visual sign of respect and ambition, but it also shows that you're serious without trying to outshine. Or at church or social settings, have a clean, neutral, respectable look, not loud or attention-seeking. You need to reflect humility and reflect and respect the environment for where you're in. And casual dress doesn't mean sloppy. Relaxed doesn't mean sloppy. Fit jeans and a simple t-shirt, clean sneakers or boots, everything just looks intentional even in its simplicity. No excessive logos or holes or flashy colors. Masculine dress isn't about dressing up, it's about showing up. It's about being prepared and composed and consistent. So that's my call to arms. Stop hiding behind laziness. Call out the modern lie of, I don't care how I look. This isn't confidence. It's an excuse for laziness. Men say they don't care to avoid accountability, not because it reflects masculinity. If you truly didn't care, you wouldn't defend it. The truth is, men care very deeply. They've just convinced themselves that apathy is authenticity. That masculine presentation is not vanity. It's ordered. It's simple. It is discipline and pride in itself. And men are physical beings. What we build, what we wear and carry, that reflects our inner structure. A well-presented man says, I've got my life in order. A sloppy man says, I've let myself slip. Weak men dress for acceptance. They follow trends. They seek approval. They fear judgment. But a strong man dresses with intention. They respect themselves enough not to need validation. So ask yourself, does your appearance match the man you are claiming to be? Would your wardrobe make someone believe that you're disciplined? Do you dress like the man that you're trying to become, or just the one who gave up? So you can go through your closet item by item. Remove anything that you don't wear or doesn't respect who you want to be or who you're becoming. Keep what fits well, feels authentic, and communicates respect. Donate or toss any clothing that's lazy or trend-chasing or just purposeless. And start building a simple, reliable wardrobe that reinforces consistency and identity. Dressing like a man has nothing to do with fashion trends or vanity. It is about self-respect. It's about order and discipline. When you care about how you present yourself, you're showing that you care about your standard. You're proving that you hold yourself to a level of excellence that others can trust. The truth is, too many men today hide behind apathy. They call it authenticity, but it's really just laziness. A man who doesn't care how he looks eventually stops caring how he lives. But dressing with intention, that's not about impressing anybody. It's about aligning your outer appearance with your inner standard. Because when you look put together, you act put together. So take the time to sharpen your presentation, to audit your closet, to clean yourself up, and to carry yourself with the same confidence you want others to see in you. Because the man who looks disciplined becomes disciplined. And the man who shows up with intention commands respect long before he even says a word. So, with that, guys, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, keep chasing.